I don't know.
Memento of Jharkhand.
Jharkhand. Oh, this is beautiful.
Memento.
Thank you so much.
This has been prepared by the tribals of Jharkhand. So this is also for you.
Since a very long time you are working in India, but this is your...
I was here in 2017.
Sir,
First time.
for 5 years.
July 2017, I started. Hyderabad 5 years, Bangalore 5 months or so, then a little bit of a break, and then back again to Calcutta.
So this is the first time you are visiting Jharkhand?
It is. It's the 19th state in India I've visited.
Sir.
And my first time here, and so far, it's been fantastic. I always like going somewhere new.
About the weather?
The weather is very pleasant. Everybody told me it'd be very cold here, but they were not telling me the truth. It isn't very cold here. It's quite pleasant. They said it would be very grey and cloudy. Again, they're not telling the truth. It's bright and sunny. Okay, and the air is clean. I'm in Calcutta. It's definitely not so clean down there. So it's very pleasant, very nice. I've been suffering with a cough, but my cough has been much better since I've been here. I'm thinking of moving.
Sir, would you like to tell the role of British High Commission in India?
British High Commission in India. I mean,
Especially Calcutta.
British High Commission in India, overall, just like every other mission, is here to represent the interests of our government, our people, with the people of the country that's hosting us, in this case, India, and have relationships in a number of different areas. At the moment, what is guiding our priorities is what is called the 2030 roadmap for India and UK, which really set in place the current relations, the current priorities, and these were agreed between the British and the Indian Prime Ministers back in May of 2021, and the intention is to strengthen the work between UK and India over the next decade through to 2030. We want to improve both of our countries' economies. We want to bring people closer together. And we want to boost cooperation in all the areas that matter to both of those countries. And, the ambition with this relationship ultimately is to usher a transformation of the UK-India bilateral relationship to a level we've never yet seen. And it's in a good place, I think. But, we always aspire to do better. Effectively, it's delivering of that. Of course, we have responsibilities for our people and their well-being, consular responsibilities. We don't issue Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office don't issue visas, for example, but the Home Office, who sit on our platform, are the ones that administer that system. It's very important. More Indians come to the UK to study in the last year, for example, than any other nationality. So it's a fantastic thing, and we are having a massive uptake in Indian visitors since the pandemic. Lots more Indian visitors are coming. Everybody I've brought from India to see me in UK in the last few months, he was there last week, by the way, remark how many Indian visitors they're now seeing in the UK. It's at numbers we've never seen. That's really good. It would be nice to have a few more British tourists be coming to states like Jharkhand and discovering the beauty here. So we do that, and then we have 7 offices that are called Deputy High Commissions. So we have offices in Chandigarh, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and of course in Calcutta, where I am. And they, between them, cover much of India as something like a consul general. But because it's because we're a Commonwealth country, India is a Commonwealth country, the terminology is not Consul General, it's Deputy High Commission. So we have Deputy High Commissions in India, 7, and we have a few more offices, one in Pune, one in Goa, and we have somebody who works in Bhubaneswar. So we have a very, very wide footprint across India, which I think is a huge asset for my government. In fact, it's the biggest representation of any country in terms of footprint that has a diplomatic presence in India. And I'm very proud about that. So the Deputy High Commissions are responsible for individual areas, regions. My responsibility are all the states on the east and the northeast, which by our definition includes Chhattisgarh and Odisha, Jharkhand and Bihar, and then all of the other obvious eastern and northeastern states beyond that, up to the total of 13, plus the Union Territory of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Sir, what are the priorities of British High Commission in Jharkhand?
What are the priorities of the British High Commission in Jharkhand? That's a very good question. I mean, our immediate priority is to ensure that our nationals who will be coming here in February for a certain cricket match have a safe and happy experience and leave with positive memories and without any incident. And one of the reasons for my visit here is to do the groundwork for that. But we're utilizing that opportunity of that test match being in Ranchi. The first time England will have played a test match here. I understand we did play an ODI here once.
Yes.
But we're using that to have a program to celebrate, the best of Britain, and try and bring a little bit of Britain to the people of Jharkhand. It's an opportunity for us. Just as I would argue, it's an opportunity for the people of Jharkhand and the government of Jharkhand to showcase the best of Jharkhand to their British visitors, those people that choose to come to watch the cricket. Because all of those people, a lot of people from one country coming. You don't get huge numbers of British tourists coming here at the moment, or other international tourists. I'm sure the number will go up as people discover the beauty. But when you do have a large number of such visitors, then it's great to turn them into your ambassadors, and them to go away and say, well, my most unexpected experience happened in Jharkhand when I was watching England play India. The local food was amazing. The place is so beautiful. All of the things that people might choose to say. So we're working on showcasing the best of Britain. We're doing a photo exhibition. I think we're doing it at the stadium. We're going to finalize the details. As one thing, Amit can expand a little bit on what that's all about offline, but that's something we're going to do. So we're going to highlight the UK. Equally, we want to look at where there's opportunities to collaborate and partner, particularly on a mutually beneficial basis. We have British companies, British universities that are looking potentially to work in different parts of India. And there's definitely businesses and there's definitely universities in the UK that would have an interest in some of what's on offer in Jharkhand. Although I would argue that visibility of those offers isn't perhaps at the level it was, for example, in Telangana and in Karnataka, where I had hundreds of British visitors every year coming to do business or to explore education collaboration. I don't think we have that kind of footfall here at the moment. So my visit is also to just begin learning about the state. I've been to two different academic institutions. In the last 2 days I went to Ranchi University, which of course has many other institutions underneath its umbrella. Yesterday and today I was at IIM Ranchi. And I asked both of them the same question. You know, are you interested in any kind of collaboration with the British University? Absolutely, the answer is always, in both cases, was unsurprisingly yes, we are. And then, okay, what does that look like? What's on your wish list? So I've asked them the question. I'm asking the question in each and every one of these institutions I visit around the country. Because at the moment, I'm trying to build a picture. I don't have it. I need it. Whereas in Hyderabad, that information I knew. I mean, I was there for 5 years. Mm-hmm. I knew all of the main institutions. I knew what they wanted, and I've managed to make a number of connections for them. You know, if you ask me the question, what does a Deputy High Commissioner do? And I have to answer you in one sentence. I'll tell you that we join dots. Okay? This institution would like to have a collaboration in industry with somebody working in this sector in India. Okay, here's 3 options. We can look at those. One of them might work. If it does, we'll try to help facilitate that connection. It might be a partnership between you 2 universities. It might be some transaction between a British business and an Indian business, whether it's that their Indian business is going to help the British business to market their product in India, or whether it's one wants to buy something that the other one needs. All of that. I mean, you know, we're not the ones that push it over the line, but we make the connections, and then that has to be on the businesses or the universities to work out the details. And of course, we have a small team of people that can help where we need to help.
Are there any program or schemes of poor students of Jharkhand to study in UK universities?
Yeah. So the only scheme that currently exists where we have a direct involvement from my office, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, is the Chevening program. Chevening program is our flagship scholarship program. So we have the option for the successful candidates to go and do a master's at any university of their choice in the UK. Everything is paid for the beneficiary students, the visa, the airfare, the accommodation, living allowance, everything is there. And they can go to any university where they have an offer to do it. It's very competitive. We have different numbers of places each year. And we're looking for people who are outstanding leaders. Really outstanding leaders who want to then use their masters to come back to India and make a difference, which they're able to articulate. And those people, you know, also need to know how to network. And probably they also need to have some cultural interest in trying to help improve the UK-India connect as well. So they're the kind of qualities that we're looking for in our aspiring Chevening candidates. Every year we select some. I had dinner with a few of them from Jharkhand last night. I think it was last year, your Chief Minister signed an MOU with my office, with my colleagues in Delhi, to have additional Chevening places for certain people in Jharkhand to be able to go and have this experience. So there's contribution on both sides. It's like match funded. So we were able to create 5 additional places for people. The terminology maybe is not quite right, but I think it's a tribal community and other underrepresented groups, poorer members of society, which is exactly the kind of people we want to go and benefit from Chevening. If somebody has the money, why do they need to have the grant? We want to reach the people that otherwise could never have the opportunity. They're the people that really, really can benefit. And some of our most amazing chevening stories come from these people. So Jharkhand, I think, is the first state that has signed up for this. You know, because Jharkhand has done that, now a few other states are becoming interested, which is great. But Jharkhand has an additional five places, and 5 doesn't sound many, but it is a lot. And I've described it's quite a special kind of person we're looking for. So I believe that we will increase our representation. Women are underrepresented, and probably the eastern and northeastern states are also underrepresented overall. So you know, it'd be great to push that up and have some change makers. But the other part of chevening, which I should briefly mention, is that we also offer some fellowships. There's different ones. So there is one called Gurukul, which is for leaders. There's one called CRISP, which is for people primarily in science, technology, that kind of space. And then there's another one for cybersecurity, and there's a fourth one for journalists. Funnily enough, I'm in a room of journalists. So these are shorter programs of a few weeks, and they take place again at prestigious universities around the UK. They do vary from time to time. They're more for mid-career people. The master's program is open to anybody who has 2 years work experience, whereas the other programs are for people sort of mid-career professionals, still need the same skills, still need the same qualifications. And visibility of chevening in a state like Jharkhand is quite low. Not many people know about it. The other thing that I found in Telangana, and maybe it does or doesn't apply here, because, you know, for me Jharkhand is like another country, as we've discussed, to Telangana in many ways, culturally and all of that, how people think. But in Telangana, somebody would apply for chevening, they would be rejected, and then they would like never apply again. I would say, you know, that's not the right approach. You apply for something that's highly competitive, you don't get it, then you apply again next year and the year after, you try to improve. You know, and if we find really promising people, we'll help matchmake them with mentors, and also that we can really help give people the chance they need.
Can you tell the status of FTA relations, sir?
FTA? No. I can't tell you the status of where we are exactly. What I can tell you is, you know, negotiations are evidently going on. You can read that in the paper. You know, the important thing, and what I can tell you, is that we are continuing to work, as is India, towards achieving an ambitious trade deal that's going to work for both countries. But that's the most important aspect. It must work for both countries. There's been 13 rounds of negotiations, and my government's very clear. We will only sign a deal that is fair, balanced, and ultimately represents the best interests of the British people and economy. And I'm sure from the Indian side, the view will be exactly the same. And you know, this is a huge thing in a huge country, and you know, there's many elements to it. So it would take time. The Prime Minister, I know, spoke to your Prime Minister on the 3rd of November. They discussed recent progress, and I know that they both agreed on the importance of securing a deal that benefits both countries. And I know that, you know, the momentum is there. But we hope something will come. But I can't tell you precisely the status. That's basically what I can tell you today.
So now about the indigenous people of Jharkhand. They are, what can British government do for them, sir? They are very poor. They are living in very remote areas, and they are very needy indeed. So is there any plans for British High Commission, or?
You know, the UK isn't doing direct development work in India now for a long time, and that's something that is there and known. It's not just specific to Jharkhand. Generally, developmental support we're not doing that specifically in India, and the Indian government, I think, they don't want that kind of particular support. But we find different ways to work with different groups. We're not doing anything absolutely specific in Jharkhand as of today. The last project we did in Jharkhand, if I'm not wrong, related to cybersecurity. And cybersecurity affects us all. So, that benefits everybody in Jharkhand. I think proportionally, it's the poorer and less informed people that are beginning to use digital technology at the most vulnerable to being a victim unwittingly of some kind of attack or scam. So, that's something that we're doing now. But, we've done a lot of small projects where the target audience has been tribal communities in many different parts of this region and of other regions of India. And, I'm sure when we have the ability to do small things, we'll continue to do that. And, equally, sometimes the state governments are asking us, can you help us? Can you get advice about X, Y, Z? And if we have the right connections, if we can join the right dots, we'll provide that help. So that kind of thing is always going on. I met the Chief Minister before I met you, and we talked about education, particularly about girl-child education. We talked about forests. We talked about climate change. All of these issues matter. We talked about a number of other issues as well. And our door is always open. If there's something that his and his good officials think we might be able to help with, we might be able to provide some advice, and we'll look at that and try to offer that. Looking after the environment is a very, very important thing, particularly for tribal people. Many of the tribal people of Jharkhand, I understand, will worship in some way nature. And I'm still learning about the state, but each state is different, and each tribal community you meet is different. Last week, as I said, I was in Nagaland, which also has a number of tribal communities, some 17 here. You have, I think, 32 or something. So there's a lot for me to understand and learn at this very early stage. And what I take away, I don't just keep in my head. I share with the 850 odd staff we have working across the India network. I share with colleagues who will be interested in London, and bits and pieces may stand out for different people. So, I'm ready to. But don't worry about that.
Being a bureaucrat, you're working a very long time in India. You have you interacted with many IPS, IAS officers. Do you see any difference between their thought process and the bureaucrat of UK thought process? There is any difference, or?
That's a very good question. Very interesting, and it's very personal and very subjective, I think. I've met some brilliant IAS and IPS officers. Really, really impressive people. And they're all different. Some of them I've really got on with and I've worked very closely with. Others has been more of a business-like relationship. Very occasionally there's somebody that I might not entirely agree with. That happens in life, in all walks of life, just as much as I have colleagues in my own organisation that I may not prefer to work with. So, occasionally it happens. But professionally you have to get on and do your best. But the vast majority of colleagues that I've worked with, I've been really, really impressed. But I know that the way IAS officers are selected and all of that is a very, very fixed process. They go through certain exams and all of that. It's a big effort, lots and lots of people. The demand to be an IAS officer versus the number of applicants is way higher than the demand to get a Chevening scholarship, I think. It's huge, yeah? I know so many people that have tried to be in the IAS and have failed. So many. Almost every day I meet somebody who tells me. If you have that kind of entry process that people have to go through, you're definitely looking for people of a certain type, a certain caliber. And I can recognize some qualities, some traits of people that, I won't say it's completely, everybody's different, but there are certain things you can see from that approach. In the UK, we don't have that same entry process anymore to be in the British Civil Service, which is just as well for me, because I probably wouldn't be there. We have people of all different walks of life that may end up being in a role. Some people join when they're very young. They join before they even go to university. Other people join very late in life after they've already had a successful career. My predecessor was a very successful policeman before he came to be the diplomatic service and have a second career. And he ended up being the previous Deputy High Commissioner in Calcutta. So, that brings a different set of experiences. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. So what I'm saying is it's very diverse. And there's a real emphasis on trying to make it perhaps even more diverse. And this has been something that's happened over recent years. I've seen a lot of effort to have a diverse workforce that represents different parts of the community. Your system also does that in different ways. So it happens, but much as there might be a lot of things that happened, the British structure is still followed. There's other areas where things have evolved and changed on one side or the other, and I think this is one where we're doing our recruitment quite differently. I mean, I would probably say, people often say to me, "You're not like a normal diplomat." Okay, fair enough. That's their choice. They can say that, and probably they're right. Probably I'm not, but I'm me, and I'm proud to be me. I'm comfortable to be me, and I want to make a difference. But I have to go through the same competition to get every job, and I have to prove to the panel that I'm the one that they should be given the job as Deputy High Commissioner in Calcutta too. So somehow I managed to convince them to be here, and I'm very proud of that.
So nice of you, sir. One last question, sir. The match will be on February, I think.
Yeah,
so
23rd, I think it starts.
And in India, cricket is a religion, sir.
I heard football was more of a religion in Jharkhand. Is it true? And hockey?
Yes, sir. Of course.
And congratulations on having 5 women in the national hockey team. That's amazing.
So, how do you look cricket in UK, sir, in comparison of India?
Well, at the moment, probably India are doing better than the UK. The last World Cup here was probably not one of our most memorable hours. But cricket is an extremely important sport in the UK. And it's played for a long time. It was really the only summer sport. Now it competes a little bit with rugby league and with football, which now it used to finish at the end of April and only start at the beginning of September, but now it finishes at the end of May and starts again at the beginning of July. So there's only really 1 month of pure cricket, and even then you have rugby league going on middle of their season, more affecting the cities of the north of England because that's where they play rugby league. But the London club has come back into the top division for the first time as well, so after many years. So but the support is not huge. Football is a big sport in the UK, rugby union. There's other sports a lot of people like, more individual or small team sports like golf, tennis and all. So there's a lot of competition. So not quite the same as in India, where in many parts, but not all parts of India, it is indeed a religion. I think in the UK there's probably some cities. I'm thinking of Manchester, Liverpool, Glasgow, where people will say football is a religion. I think Bill Shankly once said people often talk about football as a religion, but actually it's much more important. Some such quote. But you know, cricket in many communities, particularly northern communities, but to some degree in the south as well, at the lower level, the grassroots level of cricket, it's really, really important for villages and towns. And, you know, whole communities are connected by their cricket club, or by their football club, or by both, in a good way. And we've seen this advent in recent years. First of all, we had more one-day games, then we had T20, and a lot of the poorer people really didn't like it, couldn't believe it because it wasn't, but it brought the crowds. So cricket before that was not attracting huge crowds apart from the top international matches. Now all of the stadiums are full for T20 games, just like they are here, except your stadiums are bigger than any of ours. So it's a much bigger thing. But there's a difference, I would say as well, in that our stadiums in UK, cricket stadiums, football stadiums, they are used almost 365 days a year. Not just for the sport, but they have restaurants, they have conference facilities, they have other means of entertainment, some other hotels attached. Here in India, I think I can only think off the top of my head of one stadium in the entire country where that model is being applied. And that is the football stadium, not the cricket stadium. The football stadium in Ahmedabad. The football stadium in Ahmedabad, which doesn't even have a team, follows that model. And why does it follow that model? Because it was built by a British company, designed by a British company called Stadhi Arena. And it's all about income generation, revenue, 365 days a year. And yeah, it really is one of the most remarkable stadiums that I've had to visit. Well, I'm not saying that just because I'm British, but it genuinely is a remarkable place. And if you find yourself in Gujarat, it's worth going to have a look and see how it works. But I think at some point, it has to be the case that more stadiums in India will become more like the way the British stadiums have evolved. Because when I was 10, it was exactly like that with our football and cricket stadiums. They only opened when there was a match. Otherwise, nothing happened there. But now, the big stadiums, all sports, are in use pretty much all the time and generating a lot of money, and really, you know, changing in a positive way. So I think there's something there for big investors to really think about what they can do, how they can do it. Of course, they can get in touch with me, and I'll put them in touch with this company.
Did you go to the Ranchi Stadium?
I'm going tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
There you will see that there is a club.
Yeah, there's a club.
Yeah, and there is a gym. There are, I think, 60, 70 rooms, well equipped.
Yeah.
And there are some
They are running very good restaurant.
Then
There is swimming
there is a
pool.
bar.
Yeah, all of your stadiums have that.
Yeah.
The Hyderabad stadium has that. But half the time you go there, the place is locked up. Otherwise, it's just a few members that are there using it. Is my point.
That's the problem.
It's not.
No, it's not open to all.
Exactly what I'm saying. It's nor are ours, but they are looking to bring business in every day and do things at scale. These are for members of the club.
Yeah.
Who can benefit from it, you know? And I've come from the city of clubs.
Exactly.
I mean, people call it the city of joy, but I mean, I think I call it the city of clubs as well because it's got so many clubs. I've never been to so many clubs in my life than I think I have in Calcutta. Every club. And they all want me to be their member, which is very sweet.
Sir, thanks a ton, sir.
No, it was nice to interact with you.
Same here, sir. It was wonderful to talk to you.
प्रभात खबर.com, विश्वास वही, रफ्तार नहीं.